Chapter 9. If there were medals for being the fastest person to run from a garden into a cottage, we'd have all won a gold. We were out in the garden and into the house before you could say ogre. There has to be a spell in one of these, I cried, frantically running around and looking at all my books. There has to be. Oh, if they were only in the right place, I'd know which one was which. It's all my fault, sniffed the Yuckee Prince. He's going to gobble us up, and it's all because I was horrid. Oh, shut up and look through the books, I screamed at him sharply. Whether it was because he was frightened, or whether it was because I sounded angrier than I had ever sounded in my life, I don't know. But the Yuckee Prince looked shocked, and then just said politely, "Certainly, which way? I'm sorry." I looked out of the window. The ogre was about 3 steps away from the garden. What a good job they walk so slowly. I was flicking through books and throwing them over my shoulder as fast as a budgie can fly. The Yuckee Prince was doing the same. Thud. The ogre was 2 steps away and I didn't have the right spell. Thud. He was at the back wall and I still didn't have a spell. Oh, why wasn't he a flower or weed? Then I could shrink him with one of the spells I knew. Thud. He was in the back garden and lifting his club to smash the house. I put my hands over my face in fear. There was a crash, the sound of breaking glass, and the Yuckee Prince was screaming. But it wasn't just a scream, it was words. There was a strange crackling sound and a funny swishing noise, but the house hadn't come down. I opened one eye and peeked. The Yuckee Prince was hanging out of the window, shaking with fear. He had a book in his hand, and the moon was shining through the branches of the great oak tree in the garden. Oak tree? What oak tree? I didn't have an oak tree in the garden. He couldn't have. I walked out into the garden and looked at the tree. It towered over the cottage, and one large branch was raised as if it was just about to come crashing through the roof. He'd done it. The Yuckee Prince had turned the ogre into a giant oak. "I suppose I should thank you," I said angrily to him. "Not really," he sniffed, looking around at the ground. It was all my fault. I'm sorry." I heard him, but I didn't believe him. I had enough of his royal yuckiness, and I didn't care what the book said about being naughty because he was sad. I decided he was just naughty because he liked being naughty. Oh, sure, he was sorry now. Who wouldn't be if they'd nearly just been eaten or flattened by an ogre? But tomorrow, that would be another day. I looked around the garden and the house. What a mess. "Can I help you tidy up?" he asked. "No," I snapped. "You've done quite enough. Just go to your room and stay there. Oh, and mind you don't fall into the crocodile swamp." He just put his head down and shuffled off to his bedroom, carefully avoiding the crocodiles. "What's that you say? I was being very mean to him?" "Well, if you don't mind me saying so, that sounds nice coming from someone who thought I should let the ogre eat him, doesn't it? But you're right, I was being mean to him. And as you know, that's really not like me at all. The thing was, now that it was all over, I suddenly realised just how much worse it could have been, and I was feeling rather frightened at the thought of it. I could have been eaten by Tiddles. I could have been crushed by the ogre. Even worse, the Yuckee Prince could have been eaten and left me to face Dame Grimwood. Or what if he been found? Or what if he had found a worse spell and turned me into a tree? Or. It was so frightening that I just didn't want to think about it. And I was just a little bit annoyed at the Yuckee Prince. Do you blame me? I walked into the cottage. The place was a mess, and I knew it would take more than a simple tidying spell to put it all back in order, and I was right. I didn't know how long it took, but I know that by the time I put the last book on the shelf, the sun had been out for a long, long time. The cottage was back in order. The damage he'd done to my animals had been undone. Well, the snakes were exhausted from running around like greyhounds, and the doves' throats were really sore from barking like dogs all day, but at least they were a bit more normal. I was so exhausted that all I wanted to do was fall asleep. The rest of the tidying could wait until later. I opened the door to the Yuckee Prince's room. He was fast asleep. Funny how sweet he looked when he was asleep. As I closed his bedroom door, I looked across my books. I knew that I'd only sleep for a little while and that I'd be up long before him. But even so, I decided it might be a good idea to put a special spell on my books so that he couldn't go near them, just in case. When I reached my bedroom, I was so tired I almost crawled into bed. "Just a little sleep," I said, closing my eyes. "Just a cat nap."